My earliest memories are really being in nature, both all by myself, but also with my family a lot. I had this epic insect collection when I was a little kid, and it was this like sheet of insulation from my grandfather's wall. At some point I had dozens, maybe 100 different insects in there, and it smelled horrible, but that was my pride and joy, this big panel of all these bugs pinned with my mom's sewing needles onto this piece of insulation from my grandfather's house. The kind of science that I like to do, the kind of science that I push people in my lab to do, is to find a project, to find a question that's really motivating, that's fundamental, that's fascinating, and chase that question. There's so much cool biology out there, right? You got to find something that you're motivated by that really digs into your soul, that makes you want to solve these problems, that makes you want to build this team around you to figure out how to solve these both important and challenging and just super cool problems, right? One very clear connection between what's happening now and what our lab thinks about is understanding how it is that the immune system defends itself against a virus, right? There are tons of viruses that cannot infect most humans, maybe all humans, tons of viruses, right? The vast majority of those on this planet cannot infect humans. But what becomes problematic, as has become clear with SARS-2 most recently in the coronavirus outbreak, is that when a virus jumps from a species that it does replicate quite well into a species like human that has never seen it before, our body is really naive in a sense to this specific virus. So what we are particularly interested in understanding is what are these barriers that block viruses from coming into humans from these other species? And there are a lot of labs that are thinking about sort of these first lines of defense, these innate immune genes. We as biologists see that maybe we can have a bit more impact on this because some of the things we're thinking about are directly impactful to viral infections, dealing with epidemiology, public health, et cetera, et cetera. I think it's a defining feature of people here at PNRI. Take this basic science, this curiosity-driven approach, where there's a fascinating problem that you can't get your mind off, that is so cool to everybody you talk about, when you go to a scientific meeting, but it's also so cool when you tell your buddy down at the pub or your mom or something about this, right? Because there's this connection between that basic science we're thinking about and how we can imagine, right? And I think that imagine word is an important word. How we can imagine these things contributing to very, very important and driving human health problems.